There is a hidden battlefield at the bottom of the ocean. It's not a war for territory or oil, but for the very lifeblood of our modern world. Snaking across the dark seafloor are over 1.3 million kilometers of fragile fiber optic cables. These are not just cables. They are the global internet's central nervous system. Over 99% of all international detour emails, video calls, stock trades, and military communications flows through them. And right now, a quiet high-stakes war is being waged over who controls them. Because if you control the cables, you don't just control the internet, you control the world. In the next 8 minutes, we will map the secret geography of digital power. We will reveal the single island nation that is the most critical internet hub on the planet. We will expose which country owns more of these cables than any other, giving it the power to monitor or potentially sever the world's digital connections. And we will show you the strategic choke points, where a single ship's anchor or a covert submarine could collapse a continent. Internet, overnight. This is the invisible war for control of reality itself. Let's be clear. Satellites are not the internet. They handle less than 1% of data. The true global network is a vast, vulnerable web of subsea cables, each no thicker than a garden hose. They are the foundational, physical layer of the digital age. Every international Google search, every Netflix stream, every billion-dollar banking transaction pulses as beams of light through these glass fibers on the ocean floor. This system is incredibly efficient, but it has a critical weakness: geography. Cables must travel the shortest, most cost-effective routes between continents. This forces them to converge at narrow maritime choke points like the Strait of Malacca, the Suez Canal, and the Luzon Strait near Taiwan. At these underwater bottlenecks, dozens of the world's cables are forced into close proximity. This creates a terrifying vulnerability. A single natural disaster, a careless ship dragging its anchor, or a deliberate act of sabotage at one of these points could cripple the digital connectivity of entire nations. The map of the internet is not virtual. It is physical, underwater, and shockingly fragile. Control isn't just about laying the cable. It is about controlling the points where they come ashore and connect to the rest of the world, the landing stations. And a handful of small nations and territories have become disproportionately powerful because of their geographic luck. The undisputed king of internet hubs is the United Kingdom, specifically southern England. A staggering number of transatlantic cables converge here, making it the primary gateway between Europe and the Americas. If the UK's cable landing points were disabled, transatlantic digital traffic would face a catastrophic slowdown. In the Pacific, two territories are critical. Guam, a US territory, is a vital interconnection point for cables spanning the Pacific Ocean. And Okinawa, in Japan, serves a similar role, a crucial nexus for cables connecting the US, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Then there's Singapore, the digital heart of Southeast Asia. Almost every major cable system in the region connects through this city, making it the indispensable hub for over 650 million people. These nations don't own all the cables, but they control the doors through which the data must pass, giving them immense strategic influence. So, who owns and operates these vital arteries? This is where corporate and state power merge. Historically, a consortium of global telecom giants, companies like America's AT&T, Britain's Vodafone, Japan's NTT, and France's Orange built and shared these cables. But the landscape has been transformed by the hyperscalers. The giant tech companies whose businesses are the internet, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon now own or have a major stake in over half of all subsea cable capacity. They build private cables to shuttle data between their own colossal data centers. This gives them unprecedented control over the infrastructure their empires rely on. But looming over all of them is the shadow of a state actor: China. Through state-backed giants like China Telecom, China Mobile, and Huawei Marine Networks, China has aggressively invested in building and acquiring stakes in cable systems worldwide, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. While they don't yet control a majority, their strategy is clear: to weave the developing world's digital future into an infrastructure web built and potentially influenced by Beijing. The battle is between corporate efficiency and state strategy. This brings us to the final, most dangerous frontier, the militarization of cable security. These cables are now recognized as critical national security infrastructure. Both the United States and China are developing sophisticated submarine drones and unmanned vehicles capable of both protecting and, ominously, sabotaging these lines. The fear is not just of accidental cuts, but of strategic cable blackouts during a geopolitical crisis. Furthermore, where the cables land, surveillance follows. At landing stations, intelligence agencies can potentially intercept vast amounts of data. This is why the US is so nervous about Chinese-built cables landing in allied territories. The control of subsea cables is no longer just a commercial or logistical issue. It is a primary arena of 21st century espionage and geopolitical rivalry. The nations and companies that dominate this space hold a power that is almost invisible to the average user, yet it is the power to connect or isolate, to observe, or blind to enable the modern world, or plunge it into digital darkness with a single decisive cut on the ocean floor.